Okay, now we've got sirens going by. So we're going to have to wait a moment. Maybe Alex got murdered. I don't know what the heck is going on. The street that I live on. They're almost gone. Okay. Everybody's back. Oh, it's the O.J. Simpson chase. Yeah. We get all kinds of exciting chases like that out here in the City of Angels. Alrighty, here we go. Chapter 27. The next I'm going to start that over again. Chapter 27. The next evening at 9, I let myself into Cynthia's apartment yet again. It was empty and depressing. One occupant was dead. The other wasn't coming back. I'd put another half-written sheet in the file folder I keep in my mind labeled Women I Have Slept With Only Once. There was a note from Hank in the kitchen. It detailed how to care for the cat, its diet, where the litter was, how to scoop it, not to flush it down the toilet. I was pretty sure I could figure it out. Maxie made his or her presence known by curling around my legs as I opened the cabinet under the sink. In the bag of cat food, I found the promised Tupperware cup and filled the bowl that sat on the mat by the closet door. The cat pushed my hand out of the way before I had finished, and I spilled some kibble on the floor. I chased the scattered pieces back into the bowl, then noticed that the water dish had some hair in it, along with a few pieces of food that had turned into tiny floating kibble sponges. I emptied the bowl into the sink, refilled it, and put it back in its place, squatting to pet the cat. The RPMs of its purr increased as I scratched behind its ears. Lonely, huh? It didn't answer, just continued to eat and purr. I know the feeling, I said. I went down the hall and hit the light switch inside the door to Alex's room. A lamp lying on its side on the floor flickered on. Its light couldn't penetrate to the gloomy corners of the room, which was still a disaster area, and its crumpled shade cast a motley pattern on the far wall. I looked at the scattered books, shredded mattress, and pillow stuffing, the clothes tossed about, the broken drawers. On my hands and knees, I sorted through the debris and started to straighten up the room, and then thought, why bother? No one was coming back here. The movers were going to take whatever Cynthia wanted and ship it to Los Angeles. Then they would take what they wanted, what they thought they could use or sell, and they would throw the rest out, or they'd leave the dregs for the manager, some poor schmuck like me, to sift through again and then dispose of. All that was left of the life of Alex Penworth. Then I remembered the boxes in the closet. I didn't know if Cynthia was going to have them shipped along with her stuff, and his parents had already been through them, so the 4 boxes were still in there. I picked one and removed the lid. Theater books and plays. I removed all of them from the box. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, so I put the books back and pulled out the next box. Again, books, and again I removed them all. Odds and ends, saved from years in school, presumably because they resonated more deeply than others. A dog-eared edition of Reader Response Criticism. I had one myself. C.S. Lewis, The Screwtape Letters, a Chomsky reader. I set that one aside. 2 other volumes piqued my curiosity. One was a slim text with a red cover entitled Visions of the Nazarene. It was inscribed inside the front cover in a feminine hand. To Pranananda, my dearest spiritual brother, may the simple wisdom within these pages shine a light upon your path as it has on mine. With all my deepest heart's love, Satya. The other was a book called My Father's Guru, A Journey Through Spirituality and Disillusion by Jeffrey Moussaieff Masson. I put these aside with the Chomsky and closed the second box. The next box was filled with items that could only have attained significance through memories, and the fourth box was filled with files, old bills, medical and school records, financial matters, leases, and the like. Old stuff, archived. I had a moment of deja vu as I worked, recalling Simon doing the same thing. All of this was just trash now. In the living room, the cat was curled up on the couch. Apparently, it had eaten its fill. I sat and absent-mindedly scratched behind its ears. I had the feeling I was finished with my end of the Penworth case. I'd done everything I could do. It was in the hands of the professionals now. Sally and her crew would either break the case or they wouldn't. As for Cynthia, she was moving on. I'd feed the cat for a couple of days, make a few calls about it, and then I was done with that as well. I looked around the apartment, feeling the cold and sensing the ghosts. I shivered. The past few weeks had been a colossal waste of my time. I had earned nothing more than a few scars on the back of my head, and I had failed to satisfy any latent sense of justice that might still be lurking in my retreating soul. I picked the cat up and placed it gently on the floor. "See you tomorrow," I said. The cat said nothing in return. I let myself out. On my way home, I stopped at Hisago on 56th Street for the Mizuna salad with poached egg, a big bowl of miso ramen, and 2 bottles of hot sake. I don't know what brand it was. Compared to what I'd had at Hentai, it was down market and very astringent. It might have been Stridex, I'm not sure. The quiet, simple decor and unassuming service were a sharp contrast to the glitz and glare of Hentai. The food and drink a perfect counterpoint to both the cold night outside and the chill in my chest. My life might not have much in the way of warmth at the moment, but God damn it, I could create it myself. I could buy it, eat it, and drink it. My defiant confidence faded, however, the moment I opened my apartment door and faced the emptiness of the one large room, the iciness of the bare wood floors, the clank and hiss of the ancient radiator that did little to fight the frigid draft coming through the old wood-framed windows. I was going to have to replace those throughout the building, but I didn't want to contemplate the cost of that particular capital improvement. The message light was blinking. 3 messages. Leo, to see when we were next getting together for a meal. A hang-up. The third message was a woman's halting voice. She identified herself as Sarah Goldstein from Seattle, returning my call regarding Alex. She was sorry it had taken so long to get back to me, and she'd be home that night if I wanted to call back, or she would try me again in a little while. I noted her number, and then took a Red Tail ale from the fridge. I opened it and took a long swallow before sitting on the couch. I put the 2 books I had taken from Alex's apartment on the table in front of me and started to leaf through them. When the phone rang close to midnight, I wondered who would be calling this late. "Hello?" "Oh, hello," said a voice with the same tentative, almost frightened quality as the one on my answering machine. "Hello, this is Sarah Goldstein. I'm looking for Zach Brandis. I called earlier." "This is Zach," I said. "Thank you for getting back to me." "Who are you? What's this about?" "I'm following up on your conversation with Alex Penworth from several weeks ago, and I wanted..." "What do you mean following up? What did Alex tell you?" "He actually didn't tell me anything. If you'll bear with me for a moment, I'll explain. First, I need to know if the 2 of you were close." What is this? You're asking me to You're asking me questions that you expect me to answer? I have no idea who you are. You're not telling me anything. Alex called me about a very private matter. Why should I be talking to you? If Alex needs to talk some more, tell him to call me, but I'm certainly not going to talk to you. I'm sorry. Please let me explain. I'm afraid I have some bad news. What is it? Alex is dead. What? He died a few weeks ago. A pause, and then, how? He was murdered. There was silence on the line. I wished I could be there with this woman I didn't know. Wished I knew something about her relationship with Alex and that I hadn't been the one to deliver the news. I waited. More than a minute passed. I would have thought the line was dead if I hadn't heard her breathing. Long, slow, deep breaths, as if she was doing an exercise to calm herself. Finally, she spoke again. Who killed him? The police don't know exactly, but it appears to have been related to a drug ring operating out of the restaurant where he was a bartender. Alex mixed up in drugs? I don't believe that. Actually, he wasn't. It looks like he knew something about the operation that he wasn't supposed to, and I think he was killed because of that. I felt like I needed to give this woman more than that, something to hold on to, and so I continued. It actually looks like he was trying to do something to shut the operation down, and that's why he was killed. Oh, God. A sob escaped, and she tried to control it for a moment, and then she just started crying. Again, I waited. After a couple of minutes, she calmed down. I'm sorry, she said. This is very hard. I'm sure it is. There's nothing to apologize for. She took a few deep, stuttering breaths. We were very close. He was like a brother to me. He was a brother to me. A little bell went off. I picked up the slim red volume in front of me and looked at the inscription. Are you Satya? I asked. How do you know about that? Are you? Don't call me that. I'm sorry. It's okay. Just don't call me that. That's not who I am anymore. So you were. Yes, I was for a long time, but I'm not anymore. I'm over that now. It's not a part of my life anymore. Could you tell me a little about that? Why do you want to know? I mean, you still haven't explained to me who the hell you are, why you're asking all these questions. How did you know how to find me? How did you know I was Satya? That was just a guess. I have a book that you gave Alex. The inscription calls him your spiritual brother. I made the connection. I explained how I had gotten involved in figuring out what happened to Alex, how I had found the book. She groaned. I wanted to ask you, I said, did you know Megan? Yes. I spoke with Megan's father. He told me that Megan was pregnant when she died. It showed up in the autopsy. Oh my God, that's awful. Alex didn't know at the time. I'm guessing no one else in the community did either. Not that I know of. Oh God, that's just, I didn't know. That certainly would have added to any pressure that Megan was under. We were supposed to be celibate. Really? All of you? Yes. Even the married couples, unless they were trying to have children. It didn't have anything to do with sex being sinful. It was more about sex being frivolous. There was that word again. An inappropriate outlet for energies that should be channeled into our spiritual work. Sex slows you down, distracts you. Aha. So after Megan's suicide, that's when Alex left the, what do you call it? Then we called it the community. Now I call it a cult. Uh-huh. And that's when Alex left. Yes, but not before he confronted Simon and accused him of failing Megan. Were you still part of the community? Yes. What did Simon say? How did he defend himself? He said that preparation for discipleship was a very delicate, very difficult time. We all knew what he was talking about. Most of us had been through it, or at least we aspired to it. He said that sometimes our demons are too difficult to face, even with help. In Megan's case, he blamed a lot of it on her family. She came from a devout Catholic background, and her father was also a pretty strict military man. Simon said they were putting enormous pressure on her to turn away from the light, and that finally she broke. I hate to admit it, but he might actually have been right in some ways. None of us knew she was pregnant, but the pregnancy certainly wouldn't have been acceptable to Simon. It would have set her way far back on the road to discipleship. And for her parents, strict Catholics, the pregnancy would have been a disaster for them as well. So, this explanation of Simon's, Alex was satisfied with it? No, he wasn't. And you? Were you? What do you mean? Is that when you left? Is that why you left? No. No, I left for other reasons. Can I ask why? I don't think it's any of your business, she said. You're right, I replied. I'm sorry. It's just that I've gotten pretty involved in this thing and I feel connected to Alex because of it. I'm just trying to understand. Well, what the hell? She said. It's actually a pretty simple story, anyway. I think I was one of the lucky ones. I fell in love with someone who wasn't in the community, and I tried to bring him in. He wasn't really interested, and he was very smart, very grounded. So, of course, Simon told me that he was too materialistic, too attached to Maya. Maya? Illusion. The things of this world that we think have value but are really just. Anyway, I didn't want to break it off, so I kept seeing him secretly. It was a terrible strain. I was leading a double life, lying to my guru. One night we were returning to Tyler's apartment and three kids mugged us. They had a gun. Tyler was shot just in the arm. He was okay, and I was beaten up, not too badly, but I was bruised and I needed a couple of stitches. We were both okay, but really, really shaken. Of course, I called Simon from the emergency room and he came. When he got there, he asked me what else I needed to happen to me to wake me up, to make me realize that I was traveling down the wrong path. I was shattered. I thought he was right. I was ashamed of myself. I broke it off with Tyler before he was even out of the hospital. But underneath the shame, there was this anger and hurt. I couldn't figure out how Simon couldn't be supportive when I'd just been through this terrible trauma. And then 2 days later, another disciple came to visit me. I'm sure she was there to make sure my resolve was strong and I was coming back to the fold. As we talked, I suddenly remembered an incident a few years earlier when she had been in a terrible car accident. She had rear-ended some people, a whole family in one car. She totaled her car and theirs. And I remember Simon telling her how lucky that family had been, that it was her that rear-ended them, and what a debt that family owed her. How the hell did he explain that? She was on the path, so she had an aura of protection around her. He said that aura extended to the family in the other car as well. If it hadn't been hit by her car, it would have been a truck, and the whole family would have been killed. In that moment, remembering that story, I suddenly realized I was free. Why was that? Because I realized that there was an alternative to what Simon had said to me at the hospital. You have to understand that we all ascribed secret knowledge to Simon. We believed that he sensed things, knew things, saw things that were beyond the rest of us. The minute you believe that about someone else, you're in their power. They can tell you anything, they can control you. But that day in the hospital, Simon could have said to me, "Dear, thank the Lord that you were with Tyler when he was attacked. If you hadn't been, he would have been killed." But he didn't say that. He didn't say that because I wasn't doing what he wanted me to do. When I realized that, I was free. And now I'm married to Tyler, and I live very far away. So you're out? Yes, I'm out. I'm one of the lucky ones. It's that bad? Only if you want to live your own life. Transcontinental silence hissed down the line, and then Sarah spoke again. Is there anything else I can tell you, Zach Brandis? Is there anything else you need? There's a lot I need, I think, but thank you. I think you've answered all my questions. And has it helped? I don't know, I said. It seems like I know how and why Alex died, even if we don't know exactly who did it. That will probably come out eventually. As for the rest of his life, I guess it was what it was. It was sad, though. It was getting less sad, I think, before he died. He was free of that place, free of Simon's control. He would have been more free if he had been able to let go of his anger. What do you mean? He needed to move on, to let it go. He hadn't gotten in touch with me because he wanted to know why I left. He was still looking for ways to bring Simon down. I'm sorry. He had gotten in touch with me because he wanted to know why I left. He was still looking for ways to bring Simon down, to destroy him. What did you tell him? I told him what I told you. The only power that Simon had was the power I gave him willingly. And with my own will, I took it back. That choice was always there for any of us. All it takes is a desire and willingness to accept responsibility for your own life. And was that good enough for Alex? Not then, not when we spoke, but I think it would have been in time. I tried to explain that as long as he fought Simon, held on to his anger against him, then Simon was still in his life, still controlling him, and he couldn't let it go. He said he owed it to his family to hold on to it. What did he mean by that? I asked. I think he believed that if he brought Simon down, if he broke his power, maybe he'd get his family back. Do you think that was true? No, she said. I think that most people go through their lives with their eyes shut. They believe what they want to believe, regardless of whatever reality gets shoved down their throats. I looked at the book in my hands. This book you gave Alex. Would you like me to send it to you? Would you like it back? No. It's just a reminder of how hard we were trying to fit into a life that wasn't any good for either of us, and of my part in encouraging him to stay in it, of my enabling it. That's not what I choose to remember about my relationship with him. It sounds like you've made your peace. I have. I lost a lot of years, but I'm filling the years to come with as much joy as I can. Thank you, Zach, for letting me know what happened to Alex. I hope he's found some peace now, wherever he is. Me too, I said. Goodbye. Goodbye. I hung up the phone, and before I could digest what I had just learned, my buzzer rang. I looked at the clock. Who the hell would be dropping by at close to 1 a.m? Hello? The voice on the intercom was distorted by the cheap speaker. Mr. Brandis, it's the police. Please open the door. What the hell? I really didn't want to talk to the police right now, and I couldn't imagine what they wanted with me. It's usually not a good sign when the police come calling late at night. However, as I had told clients countless times, it never does any good to run from the cops or to refuse to see them. You don't have to say anything, but it's still best to face them and at least tell them you're not going to talk. I pushed the intercom button and then pulled the roll top down on my desk. There was nothing incriminating there, but I am ever mindful of the plain view doctrine, and I didn't want to leave anything out that I didn't have to. Call me paranoid. When the knock on the door came, I turned the knob. The door was shoved open by Sally, and then things got very strange. First, she was alone. Second, she had a bottle of champagne in one hand. Third, her free hand grabbed the back of my neck as she kicked the door shut behind her, locked her lips onto mine, and forced me back onto the couch. She dropped the bottle on the floor, straddling me as she pulled off her parka, then her turtleneck, and then started tearing at the buttons of my shirt. After that, things weren't so strange anymore. And that is the end of chapter 28. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. And when you do, click the bell icon so that you get notifications of upcoming live streams and events. And also head on over to my website, MatthewArkin.com, and subscribe to my newsletter so that you can get interesting articles on the craft of writing, acting, and all aspects of storytelling. And that's it for the night. We're ending on a high note. Yes, there we go. Thank you all for joining. And we have 2 more evenings to go. We'll pick this up again on Sunday, and then we will wrap it up on Wednesday night. So talk to you soon. Have a good weekend. See you Sunday night.